Here's how I made this F1 edit following this trend style. Get your first clip, preferably slow motion, but you can use the retime and scaling tool if you don't have a long clip. Cut the clip to the right length, and in the settings on the right, turn up the speed so that you get as many frames of footage as possible. Open the clip in Fusion, and add a time stretcher node by pressing Ctrl and space on your keyboard. The first frame should be keyframed to 0, and set the last frame to any value much less than the amount of total frames you have. In the spline tool, press Ctrl and adjust it so that the clip runs forward, and then reverses toward the end. Next is the shake. Grab an adjustment clip from the effects library, and open it in the Fusion tab. Grab a camera shake node, as well as a directional blur node. Keyframe the first frame with strength at 1, and the last frame at strength 0. Make sure the edges are set to mirror, and you turn on motion blur in the settings. In the directional blur tab, keyframe length and glow at 0.1 and 0.2, and set them to 0 on the last frame. In the spline tab, change all 3 graphs to an ease out shape. It should now look like this. For a short glitch effect, take an adjustment clip 2 to 3 frames in length. Open it in Fusion and add a brightness contrast node and an invert color node. Set the saturation to 0 in the brightness contrast node and adjust the rest of the settings to your liking. For the build up to the next clip, we are going to reverse the glow and shake of the adjustment clip we made earlier by switching the keyframes. Keyframe the first frame to 0 and the last frame to what you want. The graph should have an ease out shape this time. Now anytime you need a shake or build up, you just copy the adjustment clip over. Repeat the time stretcher process for the next clip. Next is the mirror effect. Grab another 2 to 3 frame adjustment clip, and in the Fusion tab, add a transform node and a brightness contrast node. In the transform node, select flip horizontally, and in the brightness contrast node, set saturation to 0 and tweak the rest of the settings to your liking. But now when we go back to watch it, it becomes hard to follow because it is chaotic. To fix this, we will center the helmet in the frame by adding a zoom animation. Add an adjustment clip and add a transform node in the Fusion tab. Keyframe the first and last frame to the default settings, and at some point towards the end of the clip, add a keyframe to zoom into the center of the helmet. In the spline tool, set the 2 shapes to ease in and out, so the zoom has a smooth animation. Set edges to mirror as a backup, and add motion blur as well. Now when you play it back, it looks slightly better, and we have also added more motion into the edit to make it less boring. Move the shakes to the top layer of every clip, so it applies to all of the added effects. For the third clip's time stretcher, it will be different because it will run forwards and backwards multiple times. Referring to your keyframes, set the first, third, and fifth keyframe to a low value, and the second and fourth keyframe to a higher value. In the spline tool, highlight everything with Ctrl-A and smooth out the curve like I do. After that, only highlight the last 4 keyframes and drag them a small amount to the left to actually sync the movement with the beat. For a black and white effect, add an adjustment clip, open it in Fusion, and referring to the markers in the timeline, set saturation at 1 and 0 to different points. Then with the spline tool, smoothen the lines by highlighting everything and then pressing S. Then adjust like I do to time the transition better to the beat. If you ever want a more impactful shake, you can shake the settings as such. A larger X and Y deviation, more randomness, higher speed, and a less harsh ease out so it appears visible for longer. Make your clips look slightly better very easily. You can open them in the color tab, navigate to blur, and reduce the radius slightly. Here is your finished result. Repeating these effects and adding some others will complete the whole edit. This was a pretty simple edit, so let me know if it helps. And I'm not a pro, so any feedback is appreciated as well.